Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Qchan Ed with your host, Qchan. You can also call me Mr. Q. That's how a lot of people call me. So, starting this podcast has been very interesting. And yeah, as you can see, I got a little new toy over here, and hopefully, it makes the sound quality better. I do have another microphone that I'm testing, and I'm going to be switching between both. So, it'll be nice to know which do you guys prefer. So maybe this microphone might be better. It was a little bit more expensive than the other one that I used. It's a hook on. So yeah, welcome today. So maybe again, one more time, as I always say, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, get on your sofa, and do whatever you want. So today's topic, not yesterday, the past episode, we were talking about screen time and the let's say the negative effects of screen time, mainly on young children. So most of this podcast will be focusing on young children. We're not really gonna be touching that much on adults because most of my background is mainly just focusing in children. Yeah. So in today's episode is basically we're going to be talking about like how to raise bilingual children. So we will be discussing the different strategies for supporting bilingual children with mostly monolingual parents. So we had another episode regarding about the difficulties for monolingual parents to encourage their child or encouraging bilingualism in at home or just encouraging bilingualism itself. So it might be a little bit complicated in the beginning, especially for monolingual parents. If you're bilingual parents, consider yourself super lucky. So that's super great. But if you're a monolingual parent, yeah, so maybe stay tuned and this might be helpful for you. And also, if you're a monolingual parent, I apologize that I'm not doing the podcast in Japanese. I will be doing some uh, Japanese podcasts in the future, but for the time being, I would like to just increase the amount of podcasts that I'm doing in English, and hopefully, this also can be helpful for parents and the parents that know me. That would be great. If you would give me some suggestions, for example, like slow down, or maybe I'm speaking too fast. So, like I mentioned, like slow down would be maybe better. Okay, so raising a bilingual child can definitely be incredibly challenging. But it can also be beautiful, it can be rewarding, and that's mainly if you allow yourself to understand where your child is coming from, and at the same time, understanding that it's not going to be perfect from the get go. So that is very interesting. Okay. So if you're a monolingual parent with a bilingual child, number one thing is please do not worry. There are, especially nowadays, if we were talking about like in our times, like 30 years ago, even 50, 60 years ago, it would be definitely way more difficult and a bit more scary situation to create or encourage a good environment for your bilingual child. So please don't worry. That's the most important thing. The reason why you do not need to worry is because there are a lot of resources out there and also strategies that you can use to support your child's language development. So let's go through them segment by segment, and possibly I can give you as well some tips and tricks as we move forward. But mainly, I just want to define the issues that might be happening, and also encouraging your bilingual child a little bit more so they're not scared of the language. Okay, so number one would be encouraging the use of both languages. So the first step is definitely supporting your child's bilingual development is to encourage the use of both languages. This can be done by speaking to your child in the language you're most comfortable with and encouraging them to speak with friends and family members who speak the other language. So this might be a little bit difficult, for example, in Japan, where most students at international schools tend to be Japanese. If you do go to like a super high end international school, definitely you will see more foreign students over there. So like this could be most likely, and hopefully there's a family member that is semi fluent in English, or you could go back to the our first episode in which I spoke about the categories of bilingualism, the different categories for bilingualism, and maybe something there can happen. Okay. The other thing is you can also find resources such as bilingual books and videos to help your child develop their skills in both languages. So this is good. Like you can go to bookstores like Kinokuniya is one that has plenty of books in English, usually all the way at the back. But they do have children's books, so it would be interesting if you could go there and maybe look at the books with your child and choose together. Something that I tell my parents all the time is that routine and consistency is definitely the most important thing when raising a child. And this is not just in bilingualism or in any for any language. This is basically for everything. Having set routines is definitely going to help your child develop quicker. And also time management. They would be able to understand time management. Since, okay, it's 6 o'clock, this is going to happen at 6 o'clock. Every time before bedtime, this is happening. Every time before ofuro time, this is going to happen. So setting clear routines, it is crucial for your child's development. Okay, there's another place, I forget the name of the bookstore that I go to, and it's in Umeda. You can also find plenty of books over there. So once I find Junkudo. I think the name is Junkudo. And Junkudo, you can also find, I think you have to go to the 4th floor or 5th floor if you live in Osaka, in Umeda, and you will definitely find bunch of books for children. And again, bring your child over there, look at the books together, and yeah, just find the one that I don't know, sounds or looks the most interesting for you. And even if the cover looks pretty cool and the main story of the book it is not as interesting, make it interesting. Okay, so when you're reading a book, make voices. You know, there's always my mom used to teach kindergarten, and she said to me that whenever it was Halloween, she would make this like witch laugh, and she would go like and it's so cool because right now I'm teaching the 1st grade, and I'm doing a drama club. And when I look at my kids, okay, first let's try making voices. And the simple one is, for example, let's pretend to be Santa Claus and like ho ho ho, but just going witch. It is super fun. So I do recommend doing something like that. If the book is boring, you can definitely make it interesting. And this goes for everything. You might have let's say an activity that you don't like. For example, I love running, and sometimes running can be boring because you just go on and on and on and on. So make it interesting, okay? Try and think about funky things, and in the story, you can change completely the story. That wouldn't matter. And then rereading the story over and over again, creating characters in that story is also incredibly recommendable. Okay, so number 2, and I would say this number 2 one is the one that helped me the most. As probably, I don't know how many of you know, but okay, yes, I was born in America, but I lived in America up until I was 4 or 5. To be honest, I don't really remember. So then we moved to Mexico, and all my family is Mexican, so we basically speak Spanish to each other. So, but I was lucky enough to go to an international school, and yeah, my teachers were from Canada, Minnesota, Boston. I don't remember the other ones, but the ones that are there in my heart and I remember their names still were from those countries. So finding a bilingual role model. And this one doesn't have to be an actor. It doesn't have to be anyone. A big YouTuber, a big TikToker. No. Just someone that you see and it's motivating to see this person. You love the way that they sound. So just a quick story. When I was in university, I had the opportunity to go to a Korean international foundation. And I went to a summer camp. And in that summer camp, it was the first time as an adult or adultish, young adult, that I met people from other countries. And I met people from Canada, from America, New Zealand, and I don't remember where else. But there were a lot of native English speakers. So they it was a 2 day camp. I stayed in a room with a Canadian guy, and I think it was an American guy. I don't really remember. I do remember the Canadian. And when I was talking to him, he said to me, "You're really fluent. You're really good, but you have a very thick accent." And I was, to be honest, I had no idea. I didn't really care about accents back then. So I didn't really care. So when I was like 19, or 18, 19, I had a really strong accent. I can't mimic it anymore, but I do have some friends that do this. For example, you have the numbers, and you can call them like one, two, three, or first, second, third. So instead of saying one, two, three, I would say one, two, three. I still remember that it was really embarrassing to do that. But the TH, oh my goodness, that was definitely one of the most difficult sounds that that I struggled with. So I would do something like, what was it? One, two, three. So the three, I couldn't say the three, yeah, with the TH. Saying the word girl was incredibly difficult. I still remember also doing the word World Trade Center. Wow! Oh my God! I still remember when I was in university, and they set a new building really close to ours, and it was called World Trade Center. And I couldn't say it. I couldn't say world. I don't remember the way they were saying it, but wow, that was hard. So what I started doing is I went to YouTube, and I started looking for different kind of actors. I don't remember which actor I was mimicking, but I do remember watching a video, and then just for like 10 seconds, and I was like, okay, I like this guy's voice. I want to sound exactly like this guy. I sound nothing like this guy because I have a very thick accent. So what I started doing is I watched the video 10 seconds. I took notes of what they were saying in whatever scene that was happening. I remembered, and I started copying it. So I played the video, and I said exactly the same thing as the actor was saying, and trying my best to sound like him. To the point that, I just stopped thinking about it, and I, like, right now, everyone considers me as a native English speaker. I consider myself now as a native English speaker. I don't think about the language anymore. I just do stuff. And just remember, everyone, I started doing this after 20, and then we tend to push our children, push our kids, our sons and daughters to be perfect at spelling at the age of 5, 6, and 7. So let's please stop doing that and enjoy the process of learning the language. For me, it was mind-blowing because I never thought about saying third instead of saying, I don't remember, but it was like third or third. I was just like remembering it. It's just really funny. So definitely, find a role model. This is something that you might do. So this might mean connecting with other bilingual families in your community, in the school that you go to. If you're not doing so already, but maybe going to an eikaiwa, and in choosing the eikaiwa not because it's close to your house, but choosing the eikaiwa because of the teacher. I've heard many times that a teacher doesn't make any difference at a school. I completely do not believe that. I do believe that a single person can make a massive difference in any company. This is not just in educational industries. I do believe that in any company, one single person can be way more valuable than 10 people who are not putting their best effort. Okay, so we have two more segments to cover. And this third one, it's a toughie. It's a toughie because as a teacher and with an over a decade of teaching, and in Japan it's been, I'd say, 9 years of teaching in Japan and meeting so many different parents, their high expectations are, I cannot put it in a single word. I would love for parents to understand the process of learning, how long it takes to grasp the idea of something. So usually when I have a meeting with a parent, I ask this kind of question, and I ask, How many times do you think your child has written the word hello? It's a very easy word. We say it all the time. How many times do you think your child has written that word? And to be honest, if we're talking about a first grader, second grader, I would go and I would take a risk and say probably less than 20 times. If that this depends if the teacher's not doing like a spelling quiz or testing and stuff like that. But normally I would say less than 20 times. And we're talking about the word hello. And then you're expecting your child to be able to spell the word because correctly the entire time. Wow. Let's lower expectations and increase the enjoyment of learning a new language. Okay? So let's go. Yes. So number 3. I'm sorry. I was already moving to segment 4. But no, segment 3 is, and it's crucial. So please, just with the pure title, you should be able to understand what I'm trying to say is celebrating your child's bilingualism. So please, let's try and remember when we were children, when we were 5, when we were 6, when we were 7. We were even struggling writing our own native language. And when I see Japanese children, I do have some that I've known since they were 3 years old. Now they are 9, becoming 10. Some others I met when they were 5, 6, and now they're like 12, 13, 14. It's incredible. And I remember asking their caregivers, so could you please show me like a notebook? Because I know in Japan you sit down a lot and you write a lot on different notebooks. So I would see their hiragana notebooks, their katakana notebooks, their kanji notebooks, and I still remember one. It was super cute. It was super cute. This girl wanted to write the word in kanji, taiku, but she forgot the first part of tai, and she wrote just hon. So her kanji would be honniku, and when you and when you see the kanji, it was all over the place. It was a super messy, super messy kanji. And of course, the mom would get upset with her. The teacher would get upset with her. And what happened? The child just like, I don't want to write anymore. I don't want to try anymore. Now she's in grade 3. She's moving up to grade 4. And I saw her writing recently. It's absolutely beautiful. Just please remember, it takes time. Patience. It's all about patience. Education and anything that you do is a word that I use all the time. And a lot of pro athletes say the same thing. It's also like video games. So you play, like, for example, RPG games that you level up. It is all about the grind. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Okay? So, celebrate your child's bilingualism. Just saying simple stuff such as, you're amazing for being able to speak more than 2 languages. You're amazing for being able to think in 2 languages. And if your child's doing 3, because I've met some crazy children that are fluent in Chinese, fluent in Japanese, and fluent in English, or fluent in Turkish, fluent in Japanese, fluent in English. I've seen so many different kinds of children that they're 6 or 7, and it's unbelievable the skills that they have. Okay, so let's move on to the last one before we wrap up this. I think it's our 6th episode. We're on a roll here, so let's keep on going. So segment 4 would be making the most of technology. So if you remember last episode was about screen time and all the negative effects of screen time. At the same time, there are a bunch of benefits, and I will also talk about the benefits of screen time for young children. So I like doing just both sides, one focusing on the negative sides and one focusing on the positive sides. At the same time, maybe in the future I will do longer podcasts and where I cover both the negative and positive. But making the most out of technology, and this is pretty straightforward, very simple. Nowadays we have iPads, Kindles, phones, Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, and all of just an incredible amount of educational apps out there. So technology can be a powerful tool in supporting your child's bilingual development. You can find educational apps, videos in both languages as well. Even the Nintendo Switch has like a math, I forget the name, but I do remember when I was learning kanji, I used to use the Nintendo DS, and there was a kanji soft that would teach you all the strokes, and because of that, I was able to pass. I don't remember what kankin, but it was like kankin for junior high school, second grade or third grade. But anyway, you can find a bunch of educational apps and videos in both languages. Connect with other bilingual families at the same time. I do know that some people, they do take like online lessons for like 1 coin, like 500 yen. And every time the teacher is different, so I don't know if I recommend that or not. And you might have people who are not native English speakers, so I don't know if I really recommend that. I might recommend better to go a little bit more expensive and good quality. But also, if you're doing in going, for example, Eon is like Eikaiwa. There's another Nova Eikaiwa. You have another one, Wimby Eikaiwa. Just whatever Eikaiwa that you go to, please be sure to know the credentials of the teacher. And is the teacher making the class entertaining? Or he or she is just using the textbook and just reading the textbook? Is the teacher making it interesting? That's the most important thing. Okay, so to wrap it up, raising bilingual children with monolingual parents or non-monolingual parents, it's going to be hard. Even if you do not want your child to speak a different language, and even if you're doing everything in Japanese, for you parents out there, seriously, I respect you so much. Everything that you do it for your child. Everything that you want the best for your child. I completely understand that. I wish I could know it. So I say I understand it because I every year I change students and I have different children. And I have my expectations as well. But I wish I could know it. Maybe in the future I'll have a kid of my own and I could push my little kid as well to be able to spell because and beautiful by the age of 3. Of course not. I will never do that. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, this is Qchan Ed with your host, Qchan. You can also call me Mr. Q, or basically whatever you want. And let me know. Just send me a message if there's any particular topic that you would like to know more about. I am more than happy to do so. So see you next time, and I hope you enjoy your coffee. All right? See ya, and peace.